Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to Overwatch Central. So most people know by now that Overwatch Ranked will be returning at the end of this month. Ranked play was actually introduced during the closed beta briefly, but it's had its fair share of issues brought up by the community. Yesterday there was a developer update by Jeff Kaplan himself going over the general plans for competitive play. If you haven't seen it, it's in the description. Overall it was fairly vague but gave us some good talking points. So in today's video we're going to go over what Jeff said, discussing and predicting what the system may look like as a whole, as well as going over potential issues with this new system.
So before we start, we just want to go over the old system real quick and tell you what was wrong with it. The old system worked with tiers in a similar style to Hearthstone. The general main issue with that is that anybody could reach the top tier of Heroic even with as low of a win rate as 50%. It was a system built on climbing the ladder over time, with you not being able to drop down below your current tier, as opposed to a very pure and skill-based system that would feature an equal gain and loss for winning and losing. So now the system has been revamped completely.
Jeff Kaplan referenced this complaint in his developer update. He talked about the low win rate required to reach the top tiers, as well as the fact you couldn't drop down a tier once you reached it. So first up for the new system is no more tiers. Heroic is no more, and we're looking at a skill ranking instead, which goes from 1 to 100. Matchmaking rating, or MMR, is a number that represents a player's skill level that will change with each win and loss. It basically allows games with equally skilled players to be created. For example, if you lose a lot of games you'll have a low MMR, and will play against others with a low MMR as well. Since the new system is not tier based, we'll be getting a matchmaking system that is more raw and pure. Just like other games with similar systems, you will have an individual rating, but each team will have an average team MMR as well. You can also see who's grouped up in parties on both teams, whether the enemy team is a full pre-made of 6, all solo queued, or maybe a team of 4 and 2. You'll know all of this before the game starts, and all of this is a great design choice by Blizzard, and is pretty huge in itself.
The system is a huge change and is not nearly as much of a progression system as the old one used to be, but instead a competitive queue that gives you a true skill rating. Dota 2 uses an MMR system that is also just simply a number for each player. You can go up and down each game with no lifelines in the shapes of tiers. This is a pretty major change for Blizzard, as they try to be very friendly to both the casual and competitive audience. In the end, quick play is for casual play, and a ranked mode is there to feature a more competitive environment. So this change and direction helps with exactly that, and I, along with many other people that are interested and involved in competitive Overwatch, are very happy about the news.
To just sort of jump away from the competitive mode system for a second, another interesting piece of information was Jeff Kaplan discussing the assault maps. These are the double capture point maps of Anubis, Volskaya and Hadamura. Jeff said that these maps were highly dependent on 1 or 2 team fights, and after that the game would be over very quickly. The format will be changed to make the maps last longer, to have more of a back and forth struggle between the teams. He doesn't go into much more detail than that, but what exactly does this mean?
They've already extended the actual timer of the control point, so what more can they do to make the games longer? Will teams possibly be able to gain an advantage by holding some other area on the map perhaps? Or are we simply looking at a change in spawn timers and locations? Right now it's hard to tell exactly, but simply extending the timer is not very likely to be it, right? The capture progress of the control points are currently made up of 3/3 though, that allow the attacking team to capture 1/3 at a time. Maybe this will be changed to allow the defending team to wipe but still have a chance at holding the first point, yet still also allow the attacking team to get a good amount of capture progress in before the defenders come back. This would make sense, since this really brings that back and forth struggle that Kaplan was talking about. We're no game designers, but there are a lot of variables that can be tweaked, and it seems like the dev team have the right mentality about the changes that need to be made.
Jumping back straight into ranked mode, there is a final major update for ranked regarding how common sudden death was in competitive play. For those that don't know, each map in ranked was played on attack and defense. So for example, you would attack on Dorado and then defend. If both teams win on attack or defense, the map is tied and would go to a deciding round on a control map. One of the major problems we had with this is that team dynamics change when playing a completely different game mode. For example, a team that is strong on a payload map may suck at playing control, and they're at a disadvantage in general. We've had games where we've narrowly managed to bring the game to a draw and then easily won the control maps. It felt really cheap and unfair actually. It's like deciding a tie between tennis players by making them take football penalties. And on top of all this, sudden deaths were very common as well. Mathematically, it was possible for games to go into sudden death 50% of the time, but really it was around the 35% mark, which is still far too often. The Overwatch dev team wanted to minimise how often players went into sudden death. Again, the specifics weren't discussed, so we will find out exactly what that means at a later date. What we did find out though was that the sudden death will however happen on the same map the game is taking place on. So for example, going back to Dorado, the sudden death game will take place on Dorado instead of the well map on Ilios. It means that you don't have that change in game mode or map. We'll keep you updated on when we know more about this and how this will be done.
So that's two major things that haven't really been defined. How Blizzard plan to make sudden death happen less frequently, and also how they plan to have deciding matches on the same map. Attacking or defending can still give either team an advantage, but is at least running the same game mode. What do you think about all of this? How should sudden death work in your opinion, and what are Blizzard likely to do with it? Drop a comment down below and let's discuss.
Lastly, we just want to go over two final points addressed in the update, which were fairly straightforward. The first being the season length. Initially, the seasons were going to be monthly, which felt far too short. My opinion is that they wanted to set it up monthly to begin with, just so they can make big alterations to the system by changing it each month, instead of having to wait 2 or 3 months to fix some issues. Now the seasons are going to be every 2 to 3 months and will follow the seasons of the year, summer, autumn, winter and spring. Jeff said that the first season will start with summer. That means we could see ranked as early as next week, as June the 20th is the first day of summer technically. Like we said, the seasons will last 2 to 3 months, so there will be a brief break between seasons to allow the players to take some time off, but more likely so Blizzard can make some alterations without the updates being live at the same time.
Then we have the incentives of doing well in ranked, apart from a strong competitive sense that a lot of gamers feel. Again, not too much detail was given to us, but Jeff made it very clear that there would be no power gains, so to say. This means that the actual gameplay won't be changed at all. There are however cosmetic rewards planned and in the works, and he uses an example of a Reinhardt Golden Hammer. Golden Guns sounds pretty cool, right? It does also look like some of these cosmetic rewards will be for the top tier players only, so that will be interesting to see how they decide to go about it. I'm hoping it can be similar to other games rank 1 titles, yet also giving smaller rewards to players that reach a certain top percentage of players in competitive. Just as a closing note as well, the spectate and observing system is currently being improved at the moment, so Overwatch esports fans, rejoice! Hopefully it won't be too long until these upgrades are implemented too.
And that's everything in this video. Do let us know what you think the rank system will be like and what you're looking forward to seeing. Thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you next time.